their documentaries, their movies, and whatever. We talked with Jannette Werkhoven. She followed an American enlightened person by the name of Shanti Mayi all the way to
India. Well, I started off in Europe. When I met her in Amsterdam in July '94. I decided to follow her for a while, and I went to Switzerland and Denmark. And then in December she was going to go to India, to the place where her guru lives and where his ashram is, near Rishikesh. And I decided...
Just tell me, where's that? North, south?
North.
North.
Rishikesh is one of the holy places on the Ganga River, Ganges in English, and it's actually the first important place after the river leaves the mountains. And this is the place where her guru has his ashram, and she goes there every year, every winter. And I followed her there, and
you made a documentary, and you finished this early this year?
Yes, last year I finished this. Well, actually, it's a sort of report on her work, which is Satsangs, like many enlightened people do. She also gives Satsangs, and
which basically means that she invites people to come and listen to her and share her truth.
Yes. So they sit and talk. They have a meeting and they talk about truth, about God, if you like, and. She gives satsangs in Europe as well, but in India it has a special flavor because of the Ganges River, Ganga as they call it there, and as you will see in the program, it gives a very nice atmosphere, this river. Because
we're going to show this documentary, this report later. It's rather long, but we think maybe you enjoy it. Now, technically, how did you shoot it? You're a filmmaker, and how did you make this thing?
Well, I shot it on high 8, and it was an experiment for me also, because it's the first time. I've been producing films commercially for a long time, but I never really handled a camera myself, so this was the first time for me to handle a camera.
No, a high 8 is not very big. There's not very heavy.
No, it's a small thing, because to travel with a heavier camera is impossible. And so I had to take extra batteries for India, because electricity goes all the time. And so you need extra batteries. I needed a good microphone. I got some advice, of course, from cameraman friends. And I shot a lot of interviews with Shanti Mayi and some satsangs that she held at the Ganga River. And some of the material...
And then you did the editing yourself?
I edited myself on a high 8 machine. And then some very nice friends helped me to do the final editing on a Betacam and put in some titles and inserts.
Now, this is a project that you started maybe with the hope for a commercial release of this report on, say, national television?
Well, I didn't expect it to be broadcast nationally. It's something that there's not a lot of words except for hers. She's the only one that talks on the tape. I didn't make a formal introduction. I didn't put a voiceover. I just wanted to give an image of what it's like, this kind of satsang, this kind of meeting, and without any commentary, so that it speaks for itself and people can relate to her instead of other people.
Now, a logical question is, are you a follower of hers? Have you in the process become a believer in her message?
I'm not a follower of hers. I was very much taken by her, I must say. I was very much touched also by her. And this is one of the reasons, of course, why I followed her.
Spend this time...
And spend so much time with her. Yes, definitely. But, well... One of the most important things of her teaching, I found, at least for me, was the fact that she said the task of a true master, is to bring you to your own master, to your inner master. And in fact, this is what she achieved with me.
So no need anymore to...
No need to sit with her all the time, or any other guru for that matter.
And yet Amsterdam is full of people traveling here. We have had Isaac Shapiro, Benjamin Crane.
Yes.
Luckily we are sometimes invited to report on them in this program, but there's many of those people. Do you still go and see those people?
Oh yes, I do. When they're there, I will sit with them. I enjoy sitting with them. And one of my teachers has also been Alexander Smit,
who is the local
local guru,
yeah,
and who I love very much, and I like every now and then to go and see him. But the urgency of sitting with somebody and to be dependent on somebody for your happiness is gone.
Yeah. These teachers that you mention are from a Hindu tradition. They're
Yes.
not Buddhist teachers. They are not.
No.
They don't give you a practice. They don't give you something you have to do regularly, a way to meditate. It is
Yes.
more. It's referring yourself to yourself.
Well, one of the instruments that Shanti Mayi uses is Gayatri Mantra. It's a generally well-known mantra, but it's in her tradition. It is being transferred from guru to disciple, and she teaches this wherever she goes. And it's a beautiful mantra that has a powerful effect on people, and they use it in her tradition to acquire peace for everybody.
And is it a quiet mantra or is it a sung mantra?
She sings it out loud. It used to be a secret mantra that was only used inwardly, but now it's being sung out loud. And she uses it very, very intensely.
Okay, well, we'll see in the program what Shanti Mayi has to say. Thank you, Jannette, from Amsterdam. So, you can see, even Amsterdam people can make interesting documentaries.
Yeah, anyhow, I always start out, yeah, anyhow. It must be the screw that turns on my voice, the little volume. Yeah, anyhow. Now we can go. Now that we've said yeah, anyhow, we can go. Actually.
Go, Paul.
You know, selflessness. Selflessness is that which, when you are completely at one with selflessness, selflessness. Yeah, when you understand what is selflessness, you understand what it is to drain all the anxiety out of yourself. You know, sometimes we think that selflessness means that we really slave for another and we don't get what we want. You know? Or it means that we serve another and we're neglected. But this is selfishness. You want to know how? Do you know how? Yeah. Because when we serve with looking for our own joy, we've already lost that point. When we just serve ourselves and our family or our guru or our children or our school or our community without even thinking about it, this is selflessness, and the joy is inherent in the moment. I mean, it's absolutely there. But if you look for it, yeah, it'll always evade you. So selflessness means getting your joy and realizing that there's no other. There's only God. I call it God. You can call it anything you like. If it's a point of contention in you, call it whatever you like. If it's a point of contention means if this was what you hear, that all is God, and this bothers you, then you're still not getting at the depth of what I'm having to say. You let this point bother you. Then you don't get deep enough. You see? And I say all is God. What I mean by all is God is that the whole of the cosmos cannot be other than that pure consciousness, which I call God. And it's not separate from you. Understand this point. And when you understand this point also, selflessness is easy. Selfishness is the hardest point. It's the most difficult thing. It causes us most of our pain, most of our ingrown feelings, most of our all of our resentments. And we don't know how to be selfless because we think if we're selfless, it means that we will not ever get what we need. But the funny thing is we don't get it in selfishness. Means I'm gonna get what I need. Buddy. And everybody else is gonna suffer this point until I get it. This is what the world is made of now. You know Tilo? You know Tilo? Everybody knows Tilo? I just wrote to Tilo and was telling him Roshani, his mate Roshani is still ill. And I was telling, you know, we have so much craziness in this world right now, over the telephone wires or over our head, in the television, in the microwaves, in the radio waves, in these little fellows going around the planet, what are they called? Satellites. Huh? In the computers, there's so much madness, so much craziness, so much violence, so much aggression, and so much, it all comes down to selfishness. And I was telling to Tilo, no wonder we have diseases that we can't find not the cure, we can't find the reason. Where is it located? It may be located in the electricity going over our heads. Not for the electricity itself, but because our world is so selfish these days. But it's a perfect ground for a yogi. Perfect ground for a yogi because it's really stark. It's really stark what is wholeness and receptivity, and what is vulnerability, and what is resistance, and what is separateness. I am me and you are you. I am American, you are German. I have this, you have that. And these ideas, there's no place for it in us. And even if we see it occur, we don't mind it. We just know it's the nature of things. Might as well harbor no bad feelings about anything. So in some ways, selflessness means also harboring no bad feelings about anything, or if you do, to just recognize that they're just old habit feelings, that they really don't have any basis, they don't really serve anything. I mean, you can't help but the mind will always come up with junk, forever. It will always go on. So it's not a matter of getting your mind to the point where it never thinks a negative thing about anything. It's just a matter of seeing that it's useless. It's just useless. It's just useless. And then it loses a lot of this overwhelming power. It's not easy to love this world. It's a very crazy place. Isn't it? Lots and lots of tough things going on, but it's still the perfect place for the yogi because, as I've said, I know in this Rishikesh, I've said this 15, 20, maybe 50 times. The guru who shows you how not to be is as valid as the guru who shows you how to be. They both serve you in exactly the same way. So in all those who are notorious, you see my eyes coming through saying, this is how not to be, love me anyhow. And if you can't love me, at least let it be. One time, I'll tell you a story. One time, Maharaji told me before I left the ashram once, he said, he says, Shanti, Mayi, in your satsangs, they'll tear you apart. He said, they'll make a fool out of you. And I said, okay. And I hadn't had really much experience, and I was going to the University of Oregon to give satsang, and I had not come to the end, means I had not become doubtless. And I had not realized completely 100% that which I am. And so it shot some fear into me, you know. So one time, Ramananda, I think you must have been there. Ramananda's the only one it could have been. It was some years ago. And so, anyhow, one fellow comes into the university this one time, and he was so nasty, and he was so courageous about his arrogance, and he was so disruptive, you know, and he wouldn't lay it down. He would never just lay it down and be. And so after the satsang, people were saying, well, I felt to tell him to go. And I says, well, why didn't you? Well, you didn't tell him. I says, but I can't tell him. Why can't you tell him? I said, because that was my guru. That was Maharaji. You may not have recognized him, but I was quite sure that it was him, because before I left, he told me he would come, and he told me that people would make terrible remarks to me, and that I had to sit and either learn how to take it or learn how to deal with it. And they were all pretty amazed at me, and perhaps some of them thought I was crazy, but in that one who was so unkind, I saw my guru's eyes. You remember I was telling you the other day, if you see something you can't stand, see Krishna in the heart of that, seeing how much you can tolerate. And you don't have to tolerate things. I mean, don't take it to the other side. Oh, I have to tolerate everything till they walk on me. That's not the point. The point is just push yourself a little bit. just a little bit. All the things that you hear and know to be so, see them in action. Little by little, gently, gently, slowly, slowly, step by step. Otherwise, what good is this satsang if it doesn't come out in the next initiation, is the way the Buddhist tantrics say it. The next initiation, the first initiation is to get the, well, anyhow, one of the first initiations is to get the insight. And then the next initiation, these are all things that go on in every being, is to be able to see it activated. See how it's useful. How selfishness is unuseful. Not a thing that you can make an excuse to feel bad about yourself. But see its uselessness, its pain. It's not worth a darn. And you see how you keep a peace. How you keep a peace when you just let it come and go. Because I tell you, this world is forever coming and going, and it's the same. Every day the sun rises, the sun sets over notorious people, over great people, over sickness, over birth, over fresh joy, over anger, frustration. Everything goes on all the time. The yogi in some way is like a rock, in another way is like the sky, in another way it's like a heart that's empty, constantly being full. You can put so many analyses. But this is what it's really like. Selflessness means you stop aching. Yes. And it may ache for a little while to stop aching. Yeah, so many times I went into my room thinking I had surely known how it must be. And I was so disappointed to find out that I didn't know how it was. But I was so happy to know that how I was beginning to see that it was a lot more useful to everyone. And by the virtue of Maharaji's, he would sit and read his newspaper and I could be inspired. Just the way he read his newspaper was enough for me. But in selflessness, the most wonderful thing is oneself is never forgotten. In true selflessness, oneself is always really present. In selflessness, oneself is completely present. No self, no other. Self, other. The guru has to be very, very spontaneous and very honest, completely honest, and always telling you the highest of the highest, which is all is God. You see all is God, and that will open up great vistas of unspeakable wisdom inside of you, which is already present. This is as high as you can get. You can't get higher. Then the master must be realistic and look at the disciple and say, but this one has yet to learn discrimination. So you learn what is right and what is wrong, what serves you and what doesn't serve you, what causes you a lot of pain, and you discard it. And this is doing. And you stop doing when there's nothing else to do. But you can't stop doing till there's nothing else to do. But you realize, sure, 100%, you're not becoming anything. That the truth is, that's nonsense. Because you can't say what is the truth. But as close as you can say is, you are that all the time, regardless of how you act, how you are, what is your psychology, what is your feelings, what is your pain, what is your joy, what is your relationships with anything on earth. You're that. This is most important. Then sometimes you have to filter down a little bit and say, but I still can't discriminate what's good for me. Then you do. Some people in this assembly, they need not move again, not another inch. Only they need to settle. Some really need to look and discriminate. Some need to stop discriminating, for crying out loud. You see? But you know who you are, and I know who you are, and we work and we do our work. And I tell you, the most amazing and wonderful thing is there may be someone who needs to still discriminate, who only comes to that point and flops over. And there's some who need to sit and let it come in, and they'll have to let it come in for lifetimes. No one can say when this point of doubtlessness will set in. And progress is relative. And you're that, and there's no relativity in it.
Is it God, that?
Huh?
Is it God, that?
You can say that all that you see is that, God. But you also, you come to that first, and that will take you beyond that threshold. I say also essential nature is I, but it's not quite so. But you see that everyone can say I, and what is this I? And then you'll see essential nature.
Make me so restless, is that, because I can't, what is it? So
it's what you already are, this I've said.
So when
What, no matter what you do, you only listen to you are that. You didn't hear the other part. The other part is regardless of how you act, what you are, what your feelings are, whether you're male, female, young or old, regardless of anything, you are that, regardless. And don't get onto the that, you are that. That which you're seeking. It can't, don't give it a name, forget the name. Don't try to grab this point. Skip that point altogether. It's like I told this young man, if you get stuck on the word God, you won't be able to see the essence of what I'm saying. If you get stuck on that, you won't be able to see the essence of what I'm saying. You see what happens when you look at that? It causes you restlessness. You've never been anything but that which you're searching for. How can we give it a name? Somebody might think it's God, somebody might think it's consciousness, somebody might think it's divine oneness, somebody might think it's the great beyond. It's the Ganga, it's the wind in your hair. It's a smile on your face, it's the love in your heart. It's your anger, it's your opinions, it's the cement you lean on, it's the sky above you, the trees. It's your Levi's and your socks, it's your glasses and your tea, it's the microphone and the dog barking, everything you can name. And everything that is nameless, that's not other than yourself. This is supreme worship.
Right, indeed. This selflessness and toleration. When you are attacked by somebody.
You'd attack them back.
Okay? Not to
Maybe.
the others.
It depends.
Sure.
You know, what you for sure cannot do is make any rules about
yeah.
it. Maybe you do turn the next cheek. Maybe you don't. Maybe you beat the living daylights out of them. Maybe you learn something out of it. Maybe they come and beat the living daylights out of you. I've had some really wonderful arguments in my life. I would never let go of those arguments. They were the greatest. You know what tolerance means? Stop suffering your intolerance. That's all it means. You're the one that suffers your intolerance. Nobody else does. Huh. You know, yogis are only telling you what is the idea to stop suffering. Nobody wants to take over your life and own you. You know, the other day I was reading in this, what's his name? Ramananda, what's the Lebanese? Khalil Gibran. I was reading in Khalil Gibran, it says, a great man masters no one and is mastered by no one. And that's absolutely so. And it doesn't mean the guru, because the guru is always turning you into your own master and will never want to manipulate you. You can't give me anything on a manipulatory level that I could enjoy. And my joy is to see you stand up on your own 2 feet. You understand?
Yeah.
Okay. And that you are your own master. And that what you get from the master is always your own expression, mind you. Huh? So the yogi, true yogi anyhow, doesn't want to manipulate, he doesn't want anything from you. Only that you should stand up on your own 2 feet. So when we say tolerate, don't become stupid about it. You understand?
Yeah.
Understand that it's a wisdom in you, that you suffer every time that you aren't tolerant when you should be, so to speak. You understand? And there'll be times you won't tolerate it, and it'll be just okay with you. You understand? And you don't make a rule out of it. For crying out loud, when you have to give back some point, you can't say my guru says to tolerate it. But you know when you suffer from intolerance. So the words of the guru is always exciting. Shanti, Mayi, and this face and all of this stuff is, excuse me, I don't know what is that. But when I hear these words, it's, I can't say Shanti Mayi said them. Who is Shanti Mayi? You fellows always think you're going to find out who you are. Don't have any anxiety over this point. You're not going to find out. You're just going to look. This is the joy. Looking is the pleasure. When you look at the sky, what can you know about the sky? What can you know?
That it's there.
I don't know where. I've never found it. Is the sky there? I've never touched the sky. Is it blue? Can you extract the blue out of that sky? The sky can teach you a great deal. It's just like the yogi's mind. So the yogi, if he says, I know where I come from, he only knows the words about where he comes from. That. Where does the sky end and begin? When you go to the moon, are you still in the sky? When you go out of the solar system, are you in space or are you in the sky? What is the sky? It's only a word, S-K-Y. Who can say what is the sky? But yet you see it. It's nice. So this relieves a lot of anxiety. Who cares what is the sky? Hi, Andy. And selflessness is realizing the grace of the Guru is something that flows very fluid all the time, like the wind through the Himalayas between Guru and disciple. Actually, it's the grace is touching the Guru within you. And this is really selflessness, because there's no self in the Guru. None. Capital S or small s. Zero. I don't care what you call it or how you spell it. There isn't any. But yet, everything is unique. watching an Ananda Mayama video the other day, and I caught what she said in Hindi. She says, you know, man doesn't realize it, but God dwells, this consciousness dwells. I'll call it God, because consciousness sometimes it's a little impotent. But it dwells right in the very breath. This is supreme worship. And to take the power of these moments, really the power of these moments are in the complete contentment of them. And to take the power of these moments means that you really fuel yourself for going back into the world. Because then you can go back into the world and you can go into the offices and into the restaurants and into the schools and into the houses, and you can be in it but not of it. And every opportunity you get, you'll raise your window, let the air come in the apartment or the house, and listen to the squawking of the birds. One time I used to think, you know, it's really amazing. I only want peace. I only want peace. And all I could hear was clatter in my mind. And I was thinking, I only wish to have peace when my name became Shanti. Huh? But I only want to have peace. And then I would look outside my window and I would see that how strange it is the trees were in absolute and total peace. And if I just looked around a little bit, I could see it everywhere. Everywhere. Except for in my mind. But if I just relaxed into the peace that was around me, there was nothing I wanted. Nothing. I didn't even want anything. You know, one time my guru said, maybe I told you this story about Maharaji. I went into his room, my mind was so crazy. So mad was my mind. Cutting up the whole universe in pieces, you know. And then dissecting that with criticism and, oh, it was so fiery, this mind. So I ran into Maharaji's room and I said, Maharaji, all I want is peace. I only want peace. My name's Shanti Mayi and I don't even have any peace. My name's Shanti and I don't even get peace. He says, Shanti, Shanti. He says, I never ask for my own Shanti. I only ask for peace for others. It was a great teaching. Because when I required that I should not have some, but they should have some, automatically I got mine. And then it spreads. It's really an amazing thing. And when you realize that enlightenment is not personal, there's no such thing as a personal enlightenment. If there's a personal, there's no enlightenment. That's a fact. This is beautiful. This is one of the keynotes to realization. It's not a personal thing. So anyhow, Johan, then you go to all these psychological courses and then you're still working on the personal, you understand? Yeah, so then when you just relax, let your muscles relax, take your meditation just by scratching your nose or putting your hair behind your ears or just stretching, looking into someone's eyes and being totally content, even for 10 minutes. And this consciousness, this God will instill some deep wisdom in you. You could never get so much. as to just look at the Ganga and let her soothe your eyes. But as long as you think you have something to get and you have to go after it, then you'll have to do it. Yeah. And also, actually, it's very difficult. I mean, you can be really cantankerous and you can be really pushy, but usually you aren't because you don't have any time for it. It wrecks the peace. And who are you yelling at except for yourself? So, but it's not a way of to acquire something. You just understand that these are some of the symptoms that come with relaxation. So you just relax.
How to go deeper into all the religious gods.
How to do it? Are you sure about it? Let it swallow you up. What more can you do than go to satsang and constantly remember and constantly keep it on your mind and go back to the world and miss it and come back and get fueled up? What more can you do? Supreme worship. This has been wonderful for me, Fred. Supreme worship. Put one foot in front of the next. And remain in the moment without clinging. Meditate on the Guru and look what is the essential nature of all things. It'll show you. You don't need to do anything more but continue to take a look. Just look. Your hearts are already so sincere. When you jump in the Ganga, you can't say, how do I get wet? You just let her soak you, don't you? Huh? So it's really important, actually, you just continue to live and realize that the grace is on you, all three. Remember all three? And you can see yourself everywhere, at least that which appears to be is not separate from you. Close your eyes. You can't see anything. You open your eyes, everything that you see is within you. Remain alert. And if you're not alert, relax. Relax and alert, remember. I can show you one of the best things to do. You want me to? If you have to do something, this is a really great way. And Fred, when you're like this, let the sky teach you everything it has to tell. You know that you're never separate from the Tao. You like this sadhana? Nobody does it. Haha.
Can I have that too?
Yeah, yeah.
That's too much for me. Do you have anything else to add in that way so much?
You may be enlightened within a minute.
Yeah.
When you're looking at the sky, really you remain with it.
Yeah.
And leave it tell you everything. Huh?
Yeah.
You don't have time for anything else right now.
No.
It's the best.
The legs must be tense.
No, they're pretty well.
This sky has so much to tell, and it's not in any language. And when you look in the sky, you can see the Guru's heart and how their mind is. Whatever tries to fly up there can't stick. It always has to erase itself from the sky. It can't, the birds can't just stay there. The plane can't stay there. The clouds can't stay there. Even the sun can't stay there. Everything has to go through. Nothing can stick. This is like the heart of the Guru. And this is like the sky. Completely empty and filled with everything at once. Even the stars come and go. Even the Himalayas come and go. But the sky? You remove all the form and what do you have? What you've always had. So Dinesh, when you look up at the sky, you let all the birds fall out, huh? You let them all go back to their nests. All the clouds pass by, all the thoughts that you can muster up, let them go, give them lots and lots and lots of space. Don't try to constrict them into some little corner of your mind and work them out. Just let them go by. Be careful not to look for states of being. Enlightened states, high states, insightful states. It's like looking for tomorrow and trying to grab yesterday. Every mood and every state is the state of God, consciousness. And I have to be very careful when I say such a thing too. Only in this kind of a group could I say such a thing. Because you get the feeling of the overall sky encompassing everything, whether it's good or bad or high or low, isn't it? Really, you get this feeling. Hat, chat, hat, hat.
Hat, hat.
Hat, hat. Is that what you say?
Yeah.
Acha.
I don't know if he listens, but...
Acha. But this is what we say. What do you fellows want? Satsang? You're lucky.
Relax. She just told us to relax.
She told us to relax.
Like this.
Yeah. What were we saying, Ali, just a minute ago? Acha, yeah, it's only in this kind of a group can you say such a thing, because because when I say that the sky is like the heart of the saint, or like the guru's heart, or the guru's mind, it means that everything under it is neither accepted nor rejected. It's just going on. And nothing that's under this, nothing under the sky is not in the realm of consciousness. And nothing in the realm of consciousness is absolutely intrinsically impure. It's all pure. Just like if a man comes, if a man comes and steals something out of your pocket in a dream, in the dream you'll deal with that man. But when you look a little deeper, you'll see that that man was made out of the same dream substance as the pocket. And as soon as you wake up, you won't find a good man or a bad man or a dollar or a pocket. And the saints, the enlightened one's mind is always encompassing all things. So if you look for states of being, highways to be, yeah, unfortunately, the problem with it is you get a little bit of identity around it and start thinking that you're better than others. But when your mind is like the sky, all of the creation, all of the destruction, all of the maintenance, it goes on. This is supreme worship. And no one can go to the man of ignorance and evil deed and really bow to him. But you know, in Tulsidas's Ramayana, you know Tulsidas's Ramayana? You know the Ramayana of Tulsidas? You don't know Ramayana? Ramayana. Huh? In the beginning, Tulsidas says, to all the Rakshasas and Akshasas, all the demons,